You know, college game day is setting up right behind us, but first, we got a game to talk about from tonight. Tennessee took on Georgia right here in Knoxville. Welcome to the Rocky Top Insider postgame show. My name is Rick Butler, joined as always, Ryan Shumper right here. Ryan, Tennessee got it done by a score of 70-41 today. What impressed you about Tennessee during this game?
Well, I think it has to be the defense and maybe a recycled line about this team. And the defense was, again, really impressive. And they weren't at their best the first 10 minutes of the game. I think it was 19-17. 10 minutes in, Rick Barnes said he thought they got a little too extended on some stuff defensively.
Yeah.
From there, I mean, it just clicked. Georgia scored 5 points the rest of the half. 2 of them coming on the last possession on what was a pretty tough finish by Terry Roberts. Good defense by Tennessee. I think it ended up taking Georgia 23 minutes to score 17 more points after they got their first 17 about 10 minutes into the game. And it was just an absolutely fantastic defensive performance from Tennessee. It took Georgia, making a layup when Tennessee wasn't really guarding them as the clock expired to get over 40 points. There's a lot of things Tennessee did well tonight, but I think you asked what stands out. I think for anybody it has to be that.
Yeah, that was kind of the conversation going on at the end of the game, right? Was Georgia going to get to that 40-point mark, which I think is an incredible thing, but it really speaks volumes about just Tennessee's consistency, I think, on the defensive side of the floor. But on the other side today, man, we saw a lot of balance from the offense today. I think you look down the stat sheet here, and everybody had points, everybody except for B.J. Edwards, who really only came in for less than 2 minutes at the end of the game. So everybody who played some kind of substantial minutes, man, had an impact when it comes to scoring on the offensive end of the court. I was really impressed by again, Tennessee didn't really have a guy who popped off for 20 or more or anything tonight. It was just a lot of balanced scoring from everybody they had on the court today. It
was one of those games that, I'm sitting there, I wrote about after the LSU game, Tennessee's balance, and it's like, man, I went a game too early, because this was the perfect encapsulation of it. Our friend Ben McKee had the stat that anyone who played more than 10 minutes for Tennessee tonight scored at least 5 points. And that's not a ton, but when your leading scorer has 11 points, you got two guys that scored in double digits. It kind of just explains Tennessee's offense tonight. It was a little bit of everybody. Zakai Ziegler was particularly good. Tobe Awaka had 10 points on just 3 shot attempts. Josiah Jordan-James, Julian Phillips didn't shoot it great, but they still got some stuff involved. And really on a night that Tennessee didn't shoot the 3-ball very well, just 6 of 21. They were able to have a pretty solid offense tonight. They attacked the basket well. They got to the free throw line, and they got some of that interior scoring that has always been inconsistent for them this year. But really the last week or two hasn't really been at the level that they would like it to be.
Yeah, like you said, obviously this was a game, stats are not up anymore, and let's see if I can quickly find this from 3 points. 6 of 21 for Tennessee from behind the arc today. So like you said, not Tennessee's best game by any means, not their worst by any means either though, but when the 3-ball wasn't falling, especially at the beginning of the game, you did start to see them kind of go inside a little bit more and find success. And again, as we kind of get to this point in the season, as February starts to draw closer and closer, I think those type of things are very important to see from the team moving forward.
Yeah, no, I think it certainly is. And I think maybe one thing that stood out in it tonight, and again, it felt like it was a night about defense. You had Santiago Vescovi, who has been sick, under the weather, was under the weather playing Saturday at LSU, and Rick Barnes said that Vescovi told Barnes before the game, I'm just worried about defense tonight. I'll get my offense when I get my offense. He didn't take a shot until about 5 minutes left in the first half. He hit a 3, had a reverse layup next possession. But the way him and Zakai Ziegler took Georgia out of everything they wanted to do defensively, I think those two combined for 9 steals. They made Terry Roberts, who's Georgia's starting point guard and leading scorer, they made his night just awful. And what those guys did I don't know if set the tone is the right word, because again, it took a little bit for Tennessee to get into its groove. But once they did, it was a lot of what those guys did that spearheaded a great night for the Vols.
Yeah, and the other part about the offensive side of the court that stands out to me tonight, just real quick, is 19 total assists for Tennessee, 6 total assists for Georgia in this game. So again, that just kind of shows you the flow and the movement that each team had on the court tonight. I think that really stands out. Another thing though that stood out to me was turnovers and just Tennessee's ability to force turnovers. We're not going to sit here and act like Georgia is a powerhouse of a basketball team or anything, but still getting up to 20 turnovers on the night, I think that was a really great number for Tennessee's defense to hit, and a lot of that turned into offense. I'm not sure if I have the exact stats right here. Points from turnovers. It ended up
being 29?
25.
Yeah, 25.
So 25 for Tennessee. Georgia had 4 points off turnovers. So that, to me, was one of the big kind of separating points in this game, especially once the time started to really tick on.
No, you're right. It was. And again, another thing that was kind of an extension from that LSU game on Saturday, where I think LSU turned it over 20-plus times, and Tennessee turned it, I think, I want to say 31 points. So you're right. That's an area they've been excelling at, and I think particularly doing a good job of – they force a lot of turnovers. really always, but I think to your point, they've been doing a good job of turning it into points these last couple games.
As we kind of led off well, actually, we'll say this. Any other kind of final wrap-up thoughts on the Georgia game here tonight, Wednesday night in Knoxville?
Line, I feel like I'm saying every game. Kai Ziegler just played really well. I mean, he's playing so well right now. I mean, I think in just 22, 23 minutes tonight, didn't play a ton, battled some foul trouble. 11 points on, I want to say, 4 of 8 shooting, something pretty good. 7 assists, no turnovers, 4 steals.
Yeah. Nailed it.
It's just playing point guard. It's just point guard play right there, and he's doing it at an extremely high level right now. And I think we talk about that balance. The flip side of that is you don't have a go-to scorer. That can be hard sometimes in college basketball. I think the way Ziegler plays point guard, the way he's getting everybody involved, it makes that balance probably a little more sustainable than it would be otherwise.
Sure, especially considering this is, SEC play as well, right? This is the meat of the schedule. This is when you need your players to be best, and Kai Ziegler is stepping up. Now, we talk about being kind of the middle of the SEC schedule, though, but not the next game for Tennessee. No. That will be different. As we alluded to at the beginning of the show here right now, College Game Day is getting set up right here behind us. They will be live from Knoxville tomorrow night for the Tennessee-UConn women's basketball game, but then coming up on Saturday morning, they're going to be right back live again for the game on Saturday night. A top 10 matchup, Tennessee-Texas. How about the alliteration there? Top 10, Tennessee-Texas, the whole thing, right?
Top 10 tilt, Tennessee-Texas.
Top 10 tilt.
Mark Titus voice.
There you go.
10 tilt.
What's kind of your initial thoughts and initial expectations for the top 10 tilt coming up on Saturday?
Well, I think it's a game that I think Tennessee's playing a little bit better than Texas, a little bit better team than Texas, but a great rematch from the game we got last year. Kai Ziegler, you could tell that game was still on his mind. He said, we remember that we lost. We don't want that taste in our mouth again. I think it's an exciting game, a top 10 matchup. I think maybe looking out, what stands out the most is you got a really good backcourt in Texas, a really good offensive backcourt against what we just talked about, Santiago Vescovis, Kai Ziegler, a dominant Tennessee defense, and especially defending the perimeter. That should make for a really fun game and a really fun atmosphere here Saturday afternoon.
It certainly will, and we will be here. We will have you locked into everything for the game. Hey, there's going to be game day here in the morning. We'll be there for that, and then we will wrap up the night with you again for the top 10 tilt, Tennessee versus Texas right here in Thompson Bowling Arena. There's another T to throw in, Thompson as well. But that's going to wrap it up for us here on a Wednesday night. It is late right now in Knoxville, but overall, Tennessee got the victory tonight over Georgia by a score of 70-41. Tennessee moves to a record of 17-3 on the year, 7-1 in conference play. And again, that top 10 matchup with Texas is coming up on Saturday. Thanks so much for watching the Rocky Top Insider postgame show. This is Ryan Shumpert. I'm Rick Butler. We'll catch you for the next game on Saturday night.